Whenever a publisher releases a game package in something other than a rectangular prism, that is, a box, I hear complaints that the title in question will not fit on the shelves in someone's collection, and they are frustrated that a publisher would do something like that. Why? And I understand completely why a publisher would do something like that. I mean, one reason, of course, is to draw attention to your game. That's why North Star Games will package Happy Salmon in a fish-shaped package, because this title will sit in a POP display on the counter of a store somewhere, and people will pick it up and look at it because it looks like a fish, and they will discover a game that they would not have looked at otherwise if it were just a box on a shelf somewhere. That's why Korean publisher Happy Baobab is going to release Crazy Eggs in an egg carton, because the components are egg-shaped. Why not package it in something that emphasizes that? And it's a kooky little thing that will draw attention. Now, there's other reasons to do so as well, such as the game Sakura, released by a Japanese publisher, the name of which I do not remember at this time. It looks like a sakura flower on top, and there's a little Velcro tie that attaches the petals together, and you can open this pentagonal box and get out the cards and tokens inside, and then fold it back up and package it again, but it looks cool. It's got a particular aesthetic to it that would be lost if you just put it in a square box. Why not have something that really digs into what the game is trying to present, such as the game Growl, which comes in a box, sure, but it comes with this felt packaging that looks like an angry cookie monster baring its teeth at you. Why not do something like that? Or Spanish publisher Nestor Games, which for a long time released everything in these little canvas bags where the board is typically mouse pad material rolled up, pieces shoved inside, you drop it in this pouch, you can throw this zip bag into a little mailer and send it off anywhere in the world relatively inexpensively. I assume Nestor got big discounts and had loads and loads of these for a long time, just because it worked with the format of the games in question. Similar to Totemo, which has lots of loose pieces, just drop them in a canvas bag. You don't need a box for this. It's going to be easier just to print this on here, sell it at the convention. There you go. Take the game. You have it. You can carry it around with you. Take it somewhere. You store it in a milk crate at your house. All is good. It's just cool, different ways to present something to people. And this is a much more playful manner to have things like this. All right. This as well, looking very artichoke-y. Doesn't have to be this. Sure, it can be in a packet, standard card box, but it doesn't have to be. It can be something different, where you sort of lean into what the game is and the theming of the game. You are, embodying it, such as the title I'm talking about today, Bag of Chips, which looks like, believe it or not, a ham sandwich. I'm sorry, a bag of chips. So, Bag of Chips is by publisher Mixlore. It's the second title that they've released in this manner, with the first being Ramen Fury in 2019, which comes in something that looks like a ramen package. And when you open it, you have what looks like the brick of noodles that is actually holding all the cards for the game. I mean, that makes sense. And so now you have Bag of Chips, which looks exactly like what it says on the title. What's actually inside? Well, let's take a look. In addition to storing all of the components, you will use the bag during play as a randomizer to hold tokens that you will draw while playing. Set aside the rules. We have 4 boards where we will place the chips that we draw over the course of each round. You have a deck of 36 cards along with a reminder of the distribution of chips within the bag. You have 7 potatoes, 6 onion, 5 kebab, 4 vinegar, and 3 chicken. You have some scoring tokens. The first player to collect 4 tokens wins, or 3 tokens in a 2-player game. You set all those aside, and you return all the chips to the bag. And each round, you're going to draw 14 of the 25 chips from the bag, and you are trying to score points by making predictions of what is going to come out of the bag. Each player gets a hand of 6 cards. Myself a random hand here. You normally keep them secret, of course, but I will put them face up so you can see what I have available. One person will draw 5 chips in the first turn or first round. I forget the actual terminology for how they divide things up here. Okay, so we see what's come out of the bag so far. You can do some calculations as to what is left in the bag. And now you discard 2 of the 6 cards in your hand. This card scores 25 points for you, either positive or negative, I'll talk about that in a moment, if the same number of onion chips and potato chips are drawn by the end of the 4 rounds, 4 turns. We'll say turns here. This card works the same way, but the point total is different because it's a bit less likely that you're going to have exactly the same number. The chicken, there's only 3 in the bag out of 25, and they just don't seem to be drawn the way that you would expect. I don't know. The probabilities just don't work out in the way that you would expect, and that's a big part of the game. These cards, you're betting that the last token to be drawn from the bag will be a potato chip. If that happens, that scores 61 points. Here, last token is chicken, 111 points. The point totals on the cards range from 1 to 200 something, and this card is actually an instant win. If at the end of play there are more chicken tokens in play than potato chips, you win the game instantly. You don't even have to worry about all these tokens. This one here, you get 15 points per vinegar that is drawn from the bag. So you're going to look at what's here and choose 2 of them. Let's just say I do these 2, and I put them face down. They're out of play. Now, you are going to make choices based on whatever seems right to you. So I'll look at this here. Okay, there's already 2 potato chips. I would have to draw 2 more chicken over the next 5 draws and no more potato chips for this one to come true. Seems like a long shot. Probably not going to happen. Possibly the last one will still be chicken. 15 points for vinegar. This is already worth 30 points. Probably want to keep this. This one seems like it's a possibility. This one seems like a long shot. And what's funny is you often want a long shot because I discard 1 more card. We now draw 3 more tokens. Oh dear. Oh, look at that. 3 chicken, 2 potato chips. And I threw this away. But this would score. This would win me the game only if there were no more potato chips in the final 2. I'm going to kick myself if this happens. But you now allocate 2 of your cards to the positive side and 1 to the negative side. This is saying I will lose 111 points if chicken is the last token drawn at the end of the 4th turn. But all the chickens are already drawn. I know that I'm not going to lose any points for this. I draw an onion, and then you draw 1 more in a dramatic fashion for anyone who has that, and it is a kebab. And we look at here, there are 3 onion and 2 potato chips. This one did not happen. I get no points. This one did not happen. No points. And I get my 30 points for this. Well, that's not great. 30 points may or may not be enough to score for me, depending on what everyone else has done. Everything is private until you get to this phase where people reveal their 2 positive and 1 negative. You get very invested on the final 2 draws of the round. Whoever has the highest score will get 2 points. Second highest will get 1 point in a 2-player game. Player with the highest score gets a token. The other player gets nothing. You get these, you shuffle up, you put everything back in the bag, and you go again. So you're weighing the odds each time and then resetting to play with those odds again. Let's show you some different cards just so you see things here. You will see a lot of the same things just with different tokens on them. This is worth 5 points for every potato chip. So not much because potato chips are very common. This is 140 points if all 4 vinegar come out. That's it. 202 points if no vinegar comes out. What's interesting to think though is this is 202 points either positive or negative. Or possibly it's nothing. Just depends on how things come out of the bag. So here. Oh, how about that? 4 potato and 1 vinegar. So this will not score. In theory, I might want to keep this to serve as my negative card at this time because I know I will not lose any points for this. There is no chance of me losing points. But these look sort of promising right now. Possibly this as well because there's no onion yet. There's more vinegar than kebab, although there's not that many more. This is 20 points. Maybe I want to keep that, but you have to get rid of something. Let's say we get rid of this. And this. There we go. So these are sort of similar. One's more than the other, and these are even. But you want to keep something that will not give you a lot of negative points. Now 25 points for that. Onion could still be the end. This is tie. This does not look great. Let's just get rid of this. Okay. Well, there's 4 onion in the bag. This could still happen. This literally cannot happen because there's only 2 more chips being drawn. So let's make that one the negative. These 2 will be positive. And then see what happens. Draw 1. And yes! This doesn't happen, goes away. This didn't happen, goes away. I get 71 points because onion was the last one drawn. Will that be enough to win? Who knows? So the other cards work similarly. Let's see, let's just lay out a few more here. This one is 1 point if one of each type of chip comes up. So positive 1 or negative 1, depending on where you place it on the board. This is for a collection. If you have at least 2 kebab and 3 onion, 9 points. Again, positive or negative. No chicken at all. And what's interesting with things like this is when you do a bet, it's a little bit tricky to get your mind around this at first. You're putting this here. If there's already a chicken on the board, you know it's nothing. If you put it here, let's see. If you put this here and there's no chicken yet, there's a possibility it's going to turn into negative 201 points. There's a possibility over here that it will turn into positive 201 points, but at worst, it will be nothing. And so you have to keep that in mind all the time as you're looking at these and trying to wrap your head around the probability of how things are going to come out and what will that do to convert your score. So you got these even ones for each type, each pairing that exists. You have points for each thing that come out. You have points based on something being last, and points for more this than that. There you go. So you've seen pretty much all the types, all 6 onions come out, and a lot of it is now just weighing the odds of what you think is going to happen, at least 2 of each one. Play through multiple rounds, and whoever gets 4 chips first wins. There's an overview bag of chips, which I played 4 times on a review copy from Mixlore with 2, 4, and 5 players. And the gameplay remains the same no matter the player count, other than the minor difference of the number of point tokens you hand out to the winner. And the actual number of tokens required to win the game, 4 versus 3. Those are really minor differences. The gameplay is the same because no matter who's at the table, you're looking at 6 cards, you're paring down to 4 cards, you pare down to 3 cards, and then you allocate where they're going to go. That is all the same. But the more people you have at the table, the more enjoyable the game is, mostly because of the anguish and glee that come from various people as the chips are drawn out of the bag. And you see your hopes that you had for something to pan out just crash. Or something looks like it could still happen. I could still get the 4th vinegar. It could still come. Is it going to? You get the betting feeling that's coming through constantly. And the more people you have around the table, well, the more people are invested with everything that comes out of the bag. And the more you can slow roll what's coming. This probably sounded really good on the mic, right? And it's an onion. All right, last one. One more. You probably don't want to do it this slow because it could be agonizing and people get frustrated. It's a potato chip. Who was betting on the potato chip to come out? So you have this theatrical presentation that you can do, and some people are more theatrical than others, let us say, as you are playing the game. And that's another aspect that gets played up due to the packaging itself, because this is chip bag material, and it sort of adds to the actual gameplay elements that is separate from that. Again, you didn't have to package a game this way. You didn't have to call it bag of chips. You didn't have to package the tokens in chip shape. You don't have to do any of that. But this gives you more of a hook while you're playing. It gives a way for people to talk about the game. It gives a look to the game so that you might spot it more easily on the shelf or possibly dangling on one of those plastic tabs in grocery stores, the way that such bags are often presented. It gives a very specific look to it, and then the gameplay is just the bonus almost on top of this kitschy packaging. The gameplay works really well, and you can play it mathematically minded, or you can just wing it based on what feels right. I've seen a lot of differences in the people who have been playing just on their styles. You can try to weigh the odds because, of course, you know exactly what's in the bag. You know what's left. You can weigh the odds. There's this many up here. You can do all that if you want. It's not necessary because, of course, the scores are somewhat relative. And that's what's interesting, too, about playing with more people is you're kind of naturally inspired to take bigger chances and go for more points just because there's more people competing against you. And so you feel like you need more points. I don't know if I've ever kept the card, I threw it away around here, where you get 1 point for everything. Why? Why would I have that? That's such a safe bet. Maybe in a 2-player game I would have that. Or I would end up putting that in the negative, so at worst I lose a point. Right? That's sort of this safe out. But I don't want the safe out. I want to be gambling more and trying to make things happen. The instant win card, I haven't seen that yet. With more chicken than potato chips. Again, there's only 3 chicken in the bag. There's 7 potato chips. Instant win if you have that on the positive side and that actually happens. If you have it on the negative side and that happens, well, if you have it on the negative side and it doesn't happen, doesn't matter. It's just like a 0, you throw it away. If you have it on the negative side and it does happen, then you automatically are out of the round. It doesn't matter how many points you score. You cannot get a point token. So it's a little, another gimmick thing. The instant win. Oh, feels so good to have that in a game like this. The games have lasted anywhere from 3 to 5 rounds, maybe. I think 6 at the most. But we've had a number of 3-round games where the 2 players won first and second, and then they won the next time reversed, first and second, so they each had 3 tokens, and then they each won again. So that was the end of the game. They had each 4 tokens. They both won. That was it. Clearly, they were the best people at figuring out how to bet on chips coming out of a bag. There you go. Overview of Bag of Chips, which, unfortunately, I spent all this time talking about this game that so far has been released only in Canada. Asmodee Canada is distributing the title there. It will be available in other countries, I believe, starting in October 2021. Not sure whether it'll be coming to your country or not. But if you are a gamer in Canada and want to start a business exporting bags of chips to people around the world, there's an opportunity for you. So lean into it.